The premise of The Sopranos is, what if a mob boss was in therapy? It's an absurd idea, and it's what makes the show memorable and stand out from the plethora of mob stories that came out before it. The show uses the lens of therapy to examine Tony Soprano as a character, and throughout the entire show, this primarily involves Tony's own therapist, Dr. Jennifer Melfi.
Melfi. What part of the boot you from, hun?
Dr. Melfi.
However, there are a number of other therapists shown in the series. You've got Dr. Krakauer, the one who gives Carmela a reality check. You've got Meadows therapist Dr. Wendy Kobler, who is a certified nut job. There's also Dr. Sandy Shaw, who talks to Janice about her boyfriends and asks her to read her screenplay.
I'll be having an extra session with Sandy, believe me.
Sandy, what does she do? She tells her you were picked on by your father and asks you to read her screenplays.
But the main therapist besides Melfi is the one that she's actually seeing herself, Dr. Elliot Kupferberg. He's actually mentioned all the way back in Season 1, although he doesn't appear on screen until Season 2.
Sees a shrink once a week. His name is Elliot Kupferberg.
Oh, fuck me.
Therapists on this show are kind of a mixed bag. While Krakauer is respected for his honesty and integrity, Kobler and Shaw are generally disliked by the fans. People have mixed opinions about Melfi, but she's a main character, so that just comes with the territory. But Elliot is different. He's generally disliked, though not for the same reasons as the other therapists. And in this video, we'll be examining just what exactly was Elliot's problem.
If he was just some button man, you wouldn't be treating him?
Elliot, please, huh, with the terminology?
Dr. Elliot Kupferberg is introduced in the Season 2 episode, Toodle Fucking Ooh. Despite being a minor character, he's actually in 14 episodes of the series, more than even a character like Richie Aprile. He's played by Peter Bogdanovich, the notable director behind such films as The Last Picture Show and Paper Moon. He's also a close friend of David Chase, having met while Chase was running the show Northern Exposure. Bogdanovich even interviewed Chase after the first season of the show.
The fact of the matter was I didn't want to be working in television ever. I wanted your job.
Direct-to-feature.
Directing features.
Elliot is Melfi's personal therapist. She talks to him about her life and her patients, and as you can imagine, most of their discussion revolves around Tony Soprano. Treating Tony causes Melfi all sorts of personal and professional problems, and whatever her reasons for starting therapy were before she met Tony, afterwards he becomes the center of her issues.
I am drinking in between sessions.
It's very serious.
Just on the days that I see him, I can't take it.
At first, Elliot simply listens to Melfi's problems and allows her to work through the issues like a therapist is supposed to. However, as the series goes on, Elliot starts to become fixated on the idea of Melfi dumping Tony as a patient.
Finally, thank you. Are you taking steps to seriously end it?
Now, on one level, this makes sense. Again, we see how disastrous the relationship with Tony is for Melfi. Not only is she forced at one point to go into hiding to avoid being a target in Tony's gang war, she also becomes an alcoholic to deal with the terrible things that Tony tells her. She even starts to imitate some of Tony's aggressive and antisocial mannerisms.
Do you realize what I did last week? I stormed out of here like a child. Cursing, threatening, acting out. That's exactly what he does to me.
It would only make sense that as her doctor, Elliot would encourage Melfi to make a change and remove this toxic element from her life. And it's not like it would be the only time we see a therapist take a stand. Dr. Krakauer did it with Carmela, telling her point blank that unless she leaves Tony, she herself is guilty as well.
One thing you can never say, that you haven't been told.
I see.
However, with Elliot, it seems to go beyond professional responsibility. Getting rid of Tony Soprano seems to be an obsession with him. He brings up Tony even when Melfi wants to talk about something else in her life. He uses a study on sociopaths in therapy as a way to prove that Melfi isn't accomplishing anything with Tony. And when Melfi ignores it, he forces the issue by unprofessionally revealing her patient's identity at a public dinner party.
Tony Soprano? He's your patient?
Wow.
That's pretty cool.
Jesus Christ, Elliot.
Chill out. We're among friends. We're all professionals.
Now, setting aside how weird it is that Melfi hangs out with her therapist socially, some fans have suggested that Elliot was in love with Melfi and was jealous of her relationship with Tony. Melfi does discuss her attraction to Tony with Elliot during their therapy, so perhaps he was feeling like a friend-zoned beta male, talking to his crush about the jerk that she's dating.
Because you are worried about how this thug will handle rejection.
You know, at first I did find him a little sexy. Dangerous alpha male.
But I really don't think that this is the case. We never see Elliot showing any kind of attraction to Melfi or making a move on her. And in one of the few scenes we see of him outside of therapy, we see that he's actually married. Now, of course, that doesn't mean he couldn't harbor an unspoken attraction to Melfi, but there's just no evidence to suggest it.
Okay, you're almost there, Elliot, but not quite.
Also, his obsession with Tony isn't even just about his relationship with Melfi. He seems to be interested in Tony himself. Despite his insistence that Melfi should drop Tony because he's dangerous, Elliot has a fascination with gangsters. Not only does he ask about the latest in Tony's life, he even watches the latest mob news on TV and discusses the mafia the way a football enthusiast does about his favorite team.
The Santoro thing, I called it a year ago.
The reason why Elliot keeps bringing Tony up isn't just to get Melfi to drop him, it's because he wants to hear about Tony's life. He gets a vicarious thrill being 3 degrees separated from a gangster. He's like Cusimano and his doctor friends, finding a guy like Tony fascinating while not wanting him anywhere near them.
Why don't you just admit he's a gangster? He was gunned down, and you're into it on a tabloid level.
He's not even the only therapist who's like this. In addition to Melfi having a morbid attraction to Tony's violent ways, her son's therapist, Dr. Sam Reyes, proudly brings up his family's slight connection to organized crime, even while telling Melfi to drop Tony as a patient. It's a commentary on how fetishized criminals are in America, that even a therapist sees them like something out of a gangster movie.
Those were some tough Jews.
But while Elliot's obsession with Tony might be hypocritical, it's not his real problem, nor is it why many fans dislike him. No, Elliot's real problem is just pure arrogance. He's a smug, elitist snob, looking down his nose at other people while getting a vicarious thrill from them.
Why are you smirking?
I'm not.
Oh, really?
Just look at the one time he runs into Tony in the parking lot of Columbia University. Not only does this self-proclaimed mafia expert not recognize the dawn of New Jersey, he keeps tailgating a pedestrian to make him walk faster. He later describes Tony as a blue-collar repairman, simply based on his size, and he even twists the scenario into Tony being the one who was aggressive towards him.
Turns out this guy was probably another parent, or more likely a repairman. But if he had dragged me out of my car and beaten me up, would I be saying, gee, I shouldn't have tried to park my car?
This is the real reason why Elliot pushes Melfi to drop Tony, and why he reveals his identity at the dinner party. Elliot thinks he's right about Melfi wasting her time with Tony, and he's willing to do anything to prove it, even if it means violating ethical guidelines. It's not about helping Melfi, it's about feeding his own ego and proving that he is smarter than she is.
She's blowing us off.
You just can't resist rubbing my face in it.
This air of smugness is why fans don't like Elliot. He just comes off like a pretentious snob. I mean, the guy carries around a water bottle in a mesh sleeve. How much more of an asshole can you be? That, by the way, was Peter Bogdanovich's personal water bottle. He carried it around with him everywhere, and they just incorporated it into his character. The fact that Elliot is played by Peter Bogdanovich might even add to this perception of smugness. While Peter is respected for his work as a director, he's got his share of personal controversies, and his role as a film historian can come off at times as pretentious, even to fans of the genre.
Which is exactly what Truffaut was talking about in his 1954 article in Cahiers du Cinéma. Film is an auteur's medium. Full stop.
Movies, right? Actors.
Given all the contradictions with his character, it's really no wonder that Elliot isn't rated highly by the fans. He's simultaneously an extremely minor character while being in many episodes of the series. He mostly does nothing throughout the show, but is featured prominently in Melfi dropping Tony as a patient, something most fans didn't like. His motivations are hard to read, and, worst of all, he's a smug, elitist jerk.
You smug cocksucker. Fuck you.